Ruth Carnison has penned her memoir, Girl on Edge, and she's joining me in studio to introduce us to her remarkable story. Hello.
Hello, and thank you for having me here on your show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing an incredible journey that you've penned in Girl on Edge. I have the book here. This is your memoir.
Yes.
Why did you decide to write your memoirs now?
My goodness, I've always been a visual artist. So at the age of 50, I started going to memoir writing workshops with a very remarkable woman, Anne Schuster. And it's like I discovered a whole new way of being creative and expressing myself, and an way to access and process my memories. And it was so powerful. And I was living on Robben Island at the time, and I mean, after 6:30 at night, there were no boats on or off the island. So I had a lot of very quiet time and space to start remembering things and writing them down. And yes, so that's what started me off, was definitely these absolutely amazing workshops.
Now, what was it like being on Robben Island and remembering such some traumatic events, some really hard times for you, I think. What was it like to relive that?
Sometimes it was difficult. I mean, Robben Island's quite an intense, quite a potent space, and a lot of people on the island have been through very harsh experiences. So in a way, that was the historical site. So it felt like I was in good company, and sometimes I would get into quite a strange space. I would be so back in time and bringing up all those emotions, and that I'd be on like another level, and someone would knock on the door, and it's a bit like, oh, hang on, I have to pull myself back to the present. And the first draft of my memoir, I couldn't write in the first person. I had to write it in the third person because it didn't feel safe to remember it as me, Ruth Carnison. I called myself Layla, and it was she did this and she did that, and it wasn't actually set in South Africa.
Wow.
It wasn't, it was just set in some vague place and time, and that's the only way I could do it to begin with.
How did you get to the point where you could own those stories and write from the first person?
Well, by the time I finished the first draft, who was Layla, I was like sick and tired of all the material and the memories. It's a bit like I got it out of my system through just crafting and recrafting and spell check and trying to make the sentences work. So that by that stage, it had taken the emotional sting out of a lot of the material. So, and then I put it aside, and I actually didn't want to look at it again. And then somebody said, but hang on, you must finish it, you must go back to it, because some of the chapters were in a complete mess. It still needed a huge amount of work. So I went back to it, and I thought, okay, oh, that's right. Then the second time I did it in poetry form. That's right. So it was different stages. And then the third draft, then I could finally face it. And that's when somebody said, look, go back and finish it. And so then I thought, okay, let me just see what happens if I then claim it as I and me. And yes, so that was about draft 3.
And what happened?
Well, it was quite interesting. And at that stage, it was very much for my own process. I wasn't really thinking, now this is going out into the public arena. And it was quite powerful. It was quite empowering, claiming it. This is my story, and this is who I am, and this is what I've been through.